Today, we are talking about the universal, the ubiquitous, the unapologetic Uno and how you can throw it in the trash for one of these 5 games. Okay, so my criteria for this list is that it has to be a small box game that is easy to teach and has some gameplay element that is similar to Uno. And so if you are still playing Uno as your family gathering go-to game, I hope you will find one of these 5 games interesting. We actually have 6 because my honorable mention is Exploding Kittens here. This game is amazing, and the only reason it's my honorable mention is I think most of you already have seen this or at least know of it or maybe have played it because it is very popular in its own right. The difference with Exploding Kittens here is that you are trying not to draw these exploding kittens, and the last person to do so wins. It's kind of like a hot potato, almost musical chairs type of game, and you use the cards to mitigate drawing those exploding kittens, and it's really, really interesting to see how you can prevent it, and there's a little bit of fun and take that with it. So Exploding Kittens is great. I'm sure many of you know about it already, so it is my honorable mention. My number 5 is Sea, Salt, and Paper. Now this is a great little game. Pandasaurus has now published this in the US. There are 2 French designers on here. One of those is Bruno Catala, who is one of my personal favorites. This is probably the least like Uno, so that's why it's my number 5. But the ultimate goal of the game is to get 7 points in your hand. It has these beautiful, beautiful cards with real origami on them that they've taken pictures of a lot of different sea creatures, including mermaids and crabs. And it's got a little gambling aspect to it. Great game for families, but also great for gamers. It's maybe one of the best filler games of the last few years, maybe the best, undeniably. Comment below. But the big thing for me is that it also has a couple cards like the Shark and the Swimmer where you can steal from someone's hand or completely affect other players. So if your favorite thing about Uno is attacking your opponents with draw 4s and +2s and skips, then you might like Sea, Salt, and Paper for that. My number 4 on my list is Scout. Now this is my personal favorite game on this list. I adore this game. Scout is amazing. It is a great card game. The ultimate goal of the game is to shed all the cards, get rid of all the cards in your hand. Very similar to Uno, but the biggest twist is that when you have your hand, you cannot rearrange any cards in there, and they have these nice colorful numbers, but they are two-sided. And at the beginning of the game, you can decide to keep your hand as is or completely flip it around to the other side, which is really cool. Instead of matching colors, you have to beat the card that is out on the table. So if someone has a 1, I have to play a 2 or higher. If someone plays a 1-2, I'd have to play a run that's higher or a pair of cards. Bigger groups of cards beat lower groups of cards, so 3 cards would be beaten by 4 and so on. It is an amazing game. It makes you feel really smart, even though it's just designed perfectly. Lovely game by Oink Games, and now there is a new tuck box version here in the US. I think it's in Targets and maybe other places that I think will let this game hit the mainstream like it really deserves to be. The number 3 on my list is Tucano. Now, if you follow the channel at all, you know I am collecting all the bird games that there are, and the whole reason I got this is because the toucan on there, but it really is themed around these little fruit cards. So you can see them. There's all these beautiful fruit cards that score in different ways. So you're not actually playing any cards down. You are going to choose, which is called drafting, which card you want to take and put in front of you. And you're trying to get positive points, but some of them have negative. And in the bottom half of the deck, there are these toucan cards. And the toucan cards allow you to either steal card, gift a card. You might want to gift a really nasty lime to your opponent for negative points. And there's also a flip card where you can flip all your cards over so they cannot be touched anymore by yourself or by an opponent. So it's got a little bit of that, take that, like I said with Uno. Nice, small, really great box and packaging. So Tucano is an awesome game. I think probably the most underrated on this list, but my number 3. My number 2 is a mega hit, and that is Fuji Flush. Now, I have had this game for a little bit, but I really don't think I got the magic until I played it a lot over this summer. Every single group of people that I have brought this around has adored it. And the reason I think it's the Uno replacement is because just like Uno, on your turn, all you're doing is playing one of these numbered, colorful numbered cards here. They're complete, one of them's upside down, ignore that. But you just play these cards down, okay? And they go from 2 to 20. If your card makes it all the way around without getting beat by a higher number, then you get rid of it without having to draw a card. But if someone plays a bigger number than what you play, your card gets flushed and you have to draw a new card, which is bad because you're trying to get rid of all your cards. Sound familiar? But the real fun part of Fuji Flush is if you play the same number as your neighbor, then it creates a train and those numbers add up. So if this person plays a 3, then I play a 3, and the next person plays a 3, now we have 9 and we beat the 8 that was on the table already. Love that about it. It really encourages you to play those small numbers, even though the huge numbers are a big swing and can flush the whole table. It is always fun. It is a great game, plays up to 8 players. I highly recommend Fuji Flush. My number 1 is Llama. Now this game is an amazing little card game that when I had played it for the first time, I said to myself, I'll never play Uno again. This is my replacement for Uno. I will always play this instead of Uno. I always teach this to anyone who's never really played a board game, but they've played Uno. It is designed by the good Dr. Rainer Knizia, who really is the most prolific game designer of our time and has beautiful, colorful cards just like Uno. But all the numbers have the same color. All 4s are yellow, all 3s are green, etc. So what happens on your turn is you play a card down, if you can. It has to be either be the exact same number or the next number up. So for when the number 1 is there, I can either play 1 or 2, and then it goes to 3, 4, 5, and 6, and after 6 is Llama. Of course, everyone knows that, but then after Llama, it goes back to 1. And llamas are worth 10 points, everything else is worth their number, and points are bad. So if someone gets rid of their entire hand, they take no points, and whatever you have left in your hand, you have to take them as chips. But the 2 twists here are the chips come in varieties of 1 and 10 only. The black chips are 10, white chips are 1. And if you have multiples, so if I had these 2 4s in my hand, these 2 4s just count as -4, which is really great. So you might want to only have those in your hand when the game's about to end. But the final twist is you can either play a card down, draw a card, or quit the round at any time. So if I have 4 cards in my hand and they're all 1s, I'm only taking -1 point, which is really, really great. I love the idea of being able to bow out whenever you want. It really helps mitigate the luck factor. And if you do get rid of all your cards, you also get to get rid of one of these chips, even if it's a 10, if you're above 10. So you keep playing until someone has 40 points, and whoever has the lowest amount of points wins the game. This game has really hit. I went to a foreign country with a bunch of my high school students and had a great time teaching them this. I had to buy a new copy because we got ours very, very destroyed from overuse. Llama is an amazing game, and there's multiple variations, but I only have the original, and that is my number 1 replacement for Uno. Thank you for watching. I hope you found a game that you find interesting. Check out the Patreon, like, subscribe, comment, share with your friends, and I'll see you in the next one. Today, we are talking about the universal, the ubiquitous.